Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to this conversation that we're going to have. It is going to be a conversation where you can drive, cook, put laundry away, whatever the case may be while you're listening. There won't be any visuals beyond what you're looking at right now. So you can, take care of something simple while you listen and absorb the goodness of this message. And so, without further ado, as you can see, we are going to be discussing um, how narc abuse is spiritual warfare from all sides, point blank, period. And so, um, yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into it. I actually, in preparation for this message, I found myself having to create my own um, definition of what spiritual warfare is because I just wasn't pleased with what I was finding online. And so, spiritual warfare, as defined by me, is that which consists of human struggles or even tests from evil and demonic forces, servants, etc. And those human struggles or tests from such forces waged against us in order to steer our hearts away from not only living lives free of entrapment from evil, but to also, in great attempts, keep us off course of walking in and fulfilling purpose and establishing a divine legacy in the earth. And so that is my definition of what spiritual warfare is. Additionally, I found myself writing down that spiritual warfare can also be defined as any evil and demonic agenda set upon a person's or even the lives of a people, um, a person's life to steal from you tangibly and intangibly, to kill figuratively, if not literally in other cases, and destroy in every way possible, in order to steal from you, kill you, and destroy you or them, as far as spiritual warfare waged against a group of people. That could be a family dynamic. The way I kind of have put my message together, I'm going to briefly discuss the ways in which your spirit is especially impacted by the narc's demonic presence in your life, like the way your spirit is impacted by the narc's demonic presence in your life based on the different phases of narc abuse. We know the idealizing on down the line. And so starting with the idealizing phase, and we know that consists of love bombing and grooming you, conditioning you for the narc's demonic agenda. What I wrote down is amidst X, Y, and Z happening in this 3D reality. Whether you are dating a narc and they're mirroring your personality, your character, your likes, your dislikes, your passions, etc., in order to in order to reel you in, etc., be on your good side, appear to be your husband or wife or a significant other and all of that. As all of that is happening and being manifested in the 3D reality that we live in the spiritual realm and dynamic of things, as you're being idealized by the narc demon, your soul, which consists of your mind, body, and your spirit, and is also the overall essence of a person, your soul's being siphoned by the narc demon. And so that's kind of how, and of course, your spirit is a part of your soul. And so that is pretty much um, the main way in which your spirit and spiritual warfare is waged against you in the idealizing phase, is that your soul is siphoned in various ways as you're conditioned, groomed, etc., by the narc. Um, in the next phase of devaluing, where you see a pattern of being torn down by the narc demon, you'll see a pre-phase of the intense gaslighting, criticizing you more than usual, abandoning you and otherwise deserting you, etc. Um, the intermittent reinforcement taking place, all these different things happening when you're being devalued. And so when you're being devalued, you've got all of these demonically strategic behaviors weighing heavily on your spirit through you experiencing an unusual level of anxiety within your spirit And then otherwise, I'm sure, but I'm just kind of trying to keep this good and summarized. But I know, speaking from my own personal discard experience, I can remember making observations and feeling like I was slowly but surely no longer mattering to the female sociopath that I share about with you guys. And this manifested in my spirit with a voice of, something isn't quite right, in spite of a few remarks that she's recently made here and there. Remarks like, oh, we'll always be friends. That was obviously a lie. But I still wasn't able to pinpoint, quite what I was dealing with until 6 weeks later, 6 weeks after the initial devaluing began. And then in the discard phase, you've got even more intense gaslighting taking place. You've got people turning against you that were once close to you. Your character and your integrity are being gruesomely assassinated, and then some. And so, in the discard phase, as far as your spirit and the spiritual warfare of things goes, of this whole nightmare, you literally and deep down inside have all kinds of questions regarding who and what the heck you're dealing with and what you've been dealing with and connected to for so long and otherwise. And then comes, beyond the discard, you've got the entire aftermath of it all, where you may find yourself in the 3D reality, you find yourself, leaving the Narc family members behind and cutting them off, rightfully so. You're dealing with a friendship breakup, you're dealing with a relationship breakup, you're dealing with a divorce, you're dealing with the dissolving of a working or professional dynamic with a Narc, whatever the case may be, in the aftermath of it all playing out in the 3D, spiritually, from the betrayal of it all, spiritually, you're dealing with trauma and just immense devastation. And that further yields to, you being depressed and grieved, fearful, full of anxiety, heavy confusion, hopelessness, full of despair, and then some. And again, rightfully so. And of course, many of the phases and emotions, roller coaster of emotions is exactly what it is. The roller coaster of emotions of it all and the total aftermath, however long it lasts for a given person. What was I going to say? I lost my thought that quick. Oh, yeah, it kind of goes back to my video on post-traumatic stress. The depression and whatnot are the manifestation in your spirit and whatnot, or of your spirit, just releasing evidence of post-traumatic stress and all of that. And so, yeah, also in closing, just touching on the spiritual warfare dynamic of it all. I know for me, that's another way, although, when you start Googling and otherwise researching all things narc abuse, the demonic presence of it all, etc. I know for me, I just knew it was more than, what you go through with the average friendship breakup, because one, she was never a friend. She's nobody's friend, let's be honest. And two, my spirit was tremendously, tremendously disturbed and grieved, for weeks and months on end, initially following the discard of it all. And so that's how I personally knew within my own spirit. I just knew that this was definitely spiritual warfare, a bit of psychological warfare as well, but mostly for sure, spiritual warfare. And yeah, so these are just my little thoughts, sharing a bit about the spiritual warfare dynamic of all things narc abuse and having encountered an actual sociopath this lifetime. And so comment down below, as always, you guys. Connect with me in the comments regarding the fact that narc abuse is indeed, no matter what dynamic of narc abuse you dealt with, narc abuse is spiritual warfare from all sides. Comment down below how you can relate, how anything I have shared with this message, how anything resonates with you. And let's keep the conversation going. And other than all of that, I appreciate you so much, as always, for tuning in. My name is Adrena Monet, and I'm signing off. Peace, peace.